We have a really great show lined up for you today. Our guest is Mr. Ted Wright, who has dedicated a good portion of his life and his career in helping other people, and we're going to get to him. Let's go right now to Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright, welcome to Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles.
Glad to be here, Frank.
Mr. Wright, we've gotten a chance to talk before the show. You've told me many interesting things about your background. So the first question I'd like to ask you is that you've dedicated so much of your life. You right now, with your skills and with your experience, could be working a number of different jobs, making a lot more money than you're making right now, but yet you choose the lifestyle you have so you can help other people. My first question to you is why?
It serves, it fills a niche in my soul, and I'm not a spiritual person. I don't believe in God. However, there is a certain spirituality, and what happens is that I know that I have skills and things that other people can't do, and when I look at someone who is just totally out to lunch on something, and I can help them, and I make their life a little bit happier, it makes me think that this is what life is about. And it just, I can live through their eyes. Like when you see someone come to me and they're just totally gone, they don't know what the heck they're going to do, and their two kids are playing there, totally oblivious to what's going on with their parents. I know if I solve that problem, these kids are going to stay happy. And that's what happens. And I've had lots of parents cry in front of me, and I said, look, I'm doing this to help your kids because I know they have no clue. Now I'm going to keep you in your home.
Now, your specialization is in landlord and tenant law,
Yes.
but you also help individuals to understand the proceedings in the Canadian court system.
Oh, yeah. Like most of the time, as soon as anyone finds out that they're going to have to go to court, they fill their pants. They go, what am I going to do? And essentially what you have to do is just back off, relax, present what you have to do, and then I can say, okay, this is what the law will approximately rule on. And you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things or whatever, and then it makes it so much easier, then people can breathe easier. We just had one person who was, they bought a house and the contractor didn't do what they're supposed to do. And I helped them prepare for court. And when they went to court, the judge said, I've never seen anyone prepared so well. And it just sort of like blew them away. It's still continuing. It's not over for sure. But the judge couldn't believe how well prepared. They actually did everything I told them to do. And that's what's wonderful because it makes it so much easier.
I'd like you, if you would, to tell me a little bit about your background and where your first interests in law came up and how you've proceeded through that interest to your present position at the Westmount Legal Clinic.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I've had about 10 careers in my life. In 1987, I had my own troubles with landlord-tenant. So I phoned up the Arnold Bennett hotline. And so I was talking with him. I got the information I needed. And then he let out a huge sigh. And remember, he was a city councilor, had been a city councilor like for 15 years. And I said, well, I've been on board of directors and stuff like that in the past. And I said, well, I can offer you a certain amount of my time for a period of about 1 month, 2 months, because I'm working on a film. And he said, well, how about morning and afternoon or whatever? I said, well, I'll check with the people I'm working for. And I eventually found out I could do it. I had the rental board pamphlets, and he said, okay, you're going to work on the hotlines. Never met the guy, and I worked on the hotlines.
So Arnold Bennett was one of your first mentors in this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so what happened was after that, I worked there for a year for no pay, just doing it on a part-time basis, and I was still doing the other things. And then he went away on vacation. He said, would you take over for me when I'm on vacation? And remember, he's working with the City of Montreal City Councilor. So for the time on vacation, all of a sudden, I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff for the City of Montreal and taking care of the west end of Montreal for vacation time periods. And when he came back, all of a sudden people are still calling for me, and it sort of threw him off. And I said, well, Arnold, you told me to take over, so I'm like, I'm in there, I'm calling everybody to get everything done, like just for you. I'm calling for you. And that's how it started right there.
Now, tell me a little bit about what you were actually doing when you were replacing Arnold Bennett for that period of time.
Okay, to replace Arnold, you would get people who are calling up saying there's trouble, you know, Where's the garbage? They're not picking up the garbage. Look at this big hole in front of my. I've got this huge mound of dirt that shouldn't be there. Look what's happening to the swings in the park. All sorts of stuff like that. And you say, well, okay, where are you? What's your address? What's your phone number? And I'd say, okay, I would call the local city department or whoever had to do it and say, this is the problem. Talk to that person. Get back to me. Let me know what's going on. And then you make sure that the city councilor whose district it is, you call up their machine and say, this is what I've done. This is the person I've called. And so in other words, you just back everything up. And I don't think they were used to having someone make a trail. So everybody had to do stuff or else they'd look bad. And I didn't do it that way. Just that's the best way to do things. I mean, you have to let people know what you're doing all the time. And that's what happened. Anything like traffic tickets, explaining traffic signs, all that kind of stuff.
So after you replaced Arnold Bennett and did that job for, what, approximately a year?
Yeah.
What happened next that eventually led you to the Westmount Legal Clinic?
Okay. What happened was that they liked what I did so much that Arnold approached all the city councilors in the West End and said, we've got research budget, money and everything. Let's hire this guy to do whatever the heck we want in the background of us. And so they all put money in, and I eventually ended up earning, this is like 1988, $400 a week just doing this. So I left film, where I was working at that time somewhere around 700, 750. That's the infancy of film. So they had very few people, and if they got you and you did stuff, they wanted to pay you to keep you there. And so I lost money and went there and just did that for approximately 3 years. Like just they'd pay me and I'd do whatever the hell they wanted.
And once the 3 years were up, what came next?
Okay, what came next was that Arnold Bennett did not get reelected. He lost an election by a few votes, and so he was out. But then the city of Montreal hired him and I to essentially take care of the West End under the SHDM, the Société d'Habitation et Développement de Montréal, as looking for buildings that they could acquire and house people, take it off the housing market. And so I used to inspect buildings, do whatever I had to. They essentially said, here's a pile of books. This is all about the laws you have to enforce, what you have to know, everything in the background, how to do inspections. Here's this stuff. See you in 2 months, and that's it. So that's where the law started, right there.
And right now you're at the Westmount Legal Clinic. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how people can get in contact with you for the Westmount Legal Clinic?
Okay. The Westmount Legal Clinic was started by Bob Jones and Francine Poirier in 1993. And essentially it's a non-profit group that helps people understand their case in court so they don't have to spend like $150 talking to a lawyer. They give a donation, $10 or $20. We give them 20 minutes. We tell them exactly what you have to do. And it does that now. Like now there's up to 8 people that are involved, and that's essentially what we do every week on a Wednesday between 3:30 and 6:30. No appointments, but we just take you and say, this is what we'll do for you. Go ahead, go out and do what you have to do. If you want to hire us outside here, you got to pay regular rates, but other than that, it's we donate that for you.